And welcome to another Cardinals Nest 2.0. This is the show where we bring on alumni of St. Mary's University and get caught up with what they're doing now and relive some of their past here at St. Mary's, primarily student athletes, but not always. And in this case, we have both. We have Nick and Marie Kuhn. Nick is a former baseball player for the Cardinals, and Marie, one of my advisees, actually, a public relations major here at St. Mary's, and they are now both owners of North End Pub and Grill in Cochrane. So we wanted to have them on the program to talk about their time at St. Mary's. And Donny, I know baseball, softball season in full swing right now, and Nick was one of our baseball players just a couple of seasons ago, right, Nick?
Just a couple. You know what's funny, Nick, is I went and looked back, and because I couldn't remember what years. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, kind of. It's so long ago that the head coach and I graduated together.
Yeah, well, that was going to be my first comment is that, you know, I was going through that roster, and it just, for me, it was just so cool to see all those names again. You know, I mean, people that, that you played with that I remember and had such good, it was back then I was able to travel with the team when we went to Florida and, get to know you guys a little better than just where your hometown is and where you're from. But let's talk a little bit about your time at St. Mary's as a baseball player. Kind of take us back even before you graduated, but take us back to how you ever ended up at St. Mary's.
Well, the main thing so I went to St. Patrick's High School, which is the oldest all-boys Catholic high school in the city of Chicago, which is also a Christian Brothers school. And once I let my high school know that I kind of was interested, they kind of guided me a little harder than they guided me to go into any other school. Because when I was there, the president of my high school was still on the board of trustees for St. Mary's. And he was actually there the day I graduated for graduation and whatnot.
And then Marie, how about you? How did you end up at St. Mary's?
I grew up in northern Minnesota, and I knew I wanted to stay in Minnesota, but I didn't want to go to some of the more common, I guess, Minnesota or private universities in Minnesota. A lot of people went to the Twin Cities in Duluth, and I wanted to kind of find my own way and find something different. There were a few other Hibbing students there at the time, but we just came down for a tour. My mom suggested it to me, and the second we pulled onto campus, I fell in love immediately and said, yep, no question. I loved Winona. I loved the people. They brought you in open arm right away, and second I stepped on campus, I knew that was going to be it for me. So, yeah.
So, Nick, tell us a little bit about your time playing baseball at St. Mary's. You were an infielder primarily, right?
Yeah, I did a little bit of catching. I have the career record for most bullpen innings caught at St. Mary's. It's not a full official stat that was kept at the time, but we went back and we found out that I caught the most bullpen innings at St. Mary's.
Nothing wrong with that, and it's important.
That's got me in the book. Whatever gets me in the book.
That's right.
That's right. Nick, talk a little bit about when you were at St. Mary's. What I'm going to eventually get at before we finish this is I want some dirt on Coach Whaley. I want some dirt on Coach Winnicky. So this is going to be your opportunity to let's start with Coach Whaley, because what I think is really cool right now is you and Nick both played for Coach Whaley, and right now Coach Whaley is one of Coach Winnicky's assistants, which I think is really an interesting kind of change of positions. But talk a little bit about playing under Coach Whaley.
Playing under Coach Whaley was a little bit different than I've ever played before. I mean, he showed 100% care first about you as a person, school, and then athletics. Usually it's the other way around. And he was so focused on making sure you're doing the right thing, you're healthy, you're, following through on school and doing it that way. So that was, of course, every coach you have cares about those things, but he cared a little bit more about the family side and always asked how family was first, not the other way around. If something came up, that stuff came first. The one year he even let me go home for the year the Bears lost the Super Bowl. Coach Whaley let me go home and miss 2 practices so I could be at home for that, which is pretty cool. As long as I was back on time for school the next day.
Have you, Nick, have you come back and been in the new clubhouse?
Yep. Yeah. We sponsored one of the locker rooms, or one of the, lockers. And then I've done a lot of, not in the past 2 years, but prior to, I've done a lot of food for the guys. Nick would call me up and I'd come over and cater lunch for them if they were leaving late, or usually times when they got back late, or if they were leaving for the trip in the next morning, I'd come through and we do, one time we did pasta, one time we did, like a taco bar, and I would bring that all to the locker room. And then we were also lucky enough, Nick always let me bring my son Connor with, which was always a treat for him to get to eat lunch or dinner with the guys. And they treated him like he was one of them. So that was always fun. And they've been out here as a team over the 10 years we've been open. They've been out 2 or 3 times for a team meal. And then I still see a lot of the guys come in for lunch and dinner with their families or their girlfriends and whatnot. So, and then I'm talking about current players that are coming out.
Yeah. Nick and Marie, I just wanted to kind of add to that. Certainly through North End Pub and Grill, you've been terrific sponsors of St. Mary's, as you just mentioned, sponsoring also one of the sponsors for our upcoming Hall of Fame celebration that our own sports information director, Donny Nadeau, will be inducted this year. I've always got to get that in every show, don't I?
It never gets old. You can keep doing it.
If you two could just talk about the importance of staying connected with your alma mater through those sponsorships. It's not something you would have to do, but clearly you feel strongly enough, not only about the baseball program, but also about the university to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important. When we went to the university, it was always a community feel. Alumni has always been really important, whether that was coming into our classrooms or supporting a lot of our other activities. So especially being so close, I feel like we are still part of the community. I mean, we're only 20 minutes away. And like I said, we've had a lot of alumni supportive of us and current students and players. And
Yeah, we get a lot of, not a ton, but we get to see a lot of faculty and staff that, I mean, again, it's always hard to say, like, I'm not talking current, but, Tim Gosson's been out a lot and he's brought a lot of people out, and there's been a lot of faculty and staff that's made their way around
really supportive,
and been supportive. I mean, during shutdown, we saw a lot of people that we didn't expect to see make the trip out here.
A lot of people we had never seen before, but they knew we were here and knew we needed support. And so, it's important that we give back as much as we can as well.
We talk about baseball and we talk about St. Mary's, but talk a little bit about, and I don't care which one of you answers, but how did you ever end up in the pub and grill business? Was this, Nick or Marie, was this something you aspired to do, or did it kind of fall in your laps? How did it come about?
It's always, I mean, me personally, it's always kind of been my niche. I felt like I've served since I was 16 years old, been in the business, and I kind of fell in love with the business the second I started. So it always was kind of in the back of my head. It's something I'd be interested in. I tried some other aspects of my major business, and just never really felt as comfortable as I did in a restaurant. So the opportunity came up for us. And at the time we were 24 and 25 years old, taking on a really big business. It's a tough business. And we figured at the time we had nothing to lose and both enjoyed it. And almost 11 years later, we're still here. And we love, we were living in Winona for a while and live in Buffalo City now, and love it. Love the people, love the business. So
prior to COVID, what was the biggest challenge for you two running a business like that?
There's lots of challenges. I mean, it's a tough business, and everybody who's been in this business knows it's a tough business. I mean, that's everything from financially to staffing to personal life. We have very little personal life. It wasn't so hard to manage. And then we had our son who's 6.5 now. So trying to manage kind of the balance, family life balance of that, putting in the amount of hours and time that we need to be successful. But we always hope that he will see how hard we worked and appreciate what we did. He loves to be here. He always, can we go to the bar? Can I go see dad? Can I, he loves to be here, and the customers have taken him in as their own as well. So now that he's starting his own athletic career right now, he's doing his basketball and excited for T-ball, finding the balance to make sure he is involved in that stuff as well. So.
And Nick, what's your role in the business?
I run the kitchen, so I'm back there, and then we do a lot of catering on the other side of it too, which takes up a lot of time. It was, obviously down last year, but we're already booked. We have about 15 events already coming up between graduation parties and weddings and whatnot. So that's getting back into the game, which is really, it's nice because it's guaranteed. You know what you have to do, but we still have to run both the restaurant and the catering, and the catering is usually on weekends, which makes it a little harder. But we have a great staff. I will always say this first and foremost: if we didn't have the staff we had, we would have never been able to start the catering side of it. Because our kitchen's so small, but we have such hard workers that they take care of us too. They know that the catering is a big gig for us and we really enjoy it. But still trying to operate the day-to-day Friday and Saturday, Sunday business while you're doing the catering events. I mean, we've done some weddings that were almost 400 people already, and we only have 15 employees. So it's kind of one of those where, we hire or we bring on friends to help do the cooking and whatnot.
So before I get into the Winnicky dirt, I'm going to allow you guys the chance to just this is your chance for a free commercial, because we've talked a lot about the pub and grill. Where is it? How do people get there? What's your hours? You've got yourself a free commercial there. Go for it. Oh boy.
Well, North End Pub and Grill. We are located on the main street in Cochrane, Wisconsin. So it's only just past Fountain City, only about 20 minutes from the bridge. We are open Tuesday through Sunday. We open every day for lunch at 11 a.m. We serve a full menu of pizza, sandwiches, steak, shrimp, seafood, a little bit of everything. The
main thing is if parents and faculty and staff and alumni are taking the Wisconsin way to get home back towards the cities, we're just off of Highway 35.
Just off the highway.
So if they go the Prescott way, we're just right one block off Highway 35.
And everything on the menu is great. I want to give a personal endorsement for the buffalo chicken pizza. Fantastic. Easily the best I've ever had. Yeah.
And your son was here. When was that? He was here. That's
Kale loves buffalo chicken anything. Hey, Nick, I was at your wedding on campus. How did you meet?
Oh, which version would you like?
Well, we need the clean version, first of all. But we need the version, Marie, where Nick just couldn't keep his eyes off of you. That's the version we want.
I do believe, we were in the same circle of friends, and I believe it was possibly at a baseball get-together. At
pizza party.
Yeah, it was probably at a get-together, one of the baseball players. I was at the Villages. Was it the old or new Village?
It was at Robbie Hollandagle. Okay, we'll blame him.
Yeah. And just, one look and he never went back.
Is that an accurate story, Nick? Is that all pretty?
As truthful as we can tell.
Yeah. So the other question I have, you mentioned Connor now 6.5. Packers or Bears? Marie, you're a Packers fan. Nick, the Bears fan.
I never had a chance.
You never had a chance. Wow.
No. The only thing he agrees with me on is football.
I really tried, and he never had a chance at that one. I really thought doesn't have the time for him.
Well, Nick, you did a nice job of talking about Coach Whaley, but I'm really waiting to hear. I want a good Winnicky story. And Nick, now here's the thing. He's already made it known that he holds the record for most errors in program history. So he's already proud of that one. So I want a good Winnicky story that maybe 26 years, I don't know about Nick, whether it be a player or a coach.
I talked to him on Monday and I said, what stories are off limits? He said all the good ones.
Don't let him censor you.
I respected him too much. It's just one of those. I mean, I have them all written down somewhere, I'm sure, but.
Are you, Nick, are you surprised at all that he is, one, that he is coaching, and two, that he's as successful as he is?
You know, I actually kind of thought about some of the things that I was thinking we were going to come up. And I said, you know, the first thing I said is 100% not surprised. And it is ran just like a business. Everything they do, everything he says, he's not coach talk. I mean, it is coach talk, but he actually believes in it and follows through in it. He doesn't say anything that he won't do himself. That's always what I say about him. And it's just ran so professionally, business savvy wise. Like even what we have coming up on Sunday night with the get together over Zoom, you know, that's pretty cool. And when I saw it, I'm like, that's going to be a lot of fun, you know, and who knows, you know, who's going to be there. And when he brought us back, myself and Kevin Black went back and did a talk with some of the current players a couple of years. And there were many other guys, but a lot of the guys that were there were younger than me. So I didn't really know them as well. But just getting to come back and talk, and, you know, prior to COVID, you know, the door was always open for alumni to come down and show up. And it was, you know, the door was always open and welcome. And yeah, I mean, he's, like I said, it's 100% respect when I say he runs it like a business.
And I just want to chime in. When he would bring the team out here for those team lunches, he was always class act, and he has those players. They're class act. And even my servers would always say, when those boys would leave, oh my gosh, the respect they would show everybody, please and thank yous. And even when they come into with their parents, you can see that what Winnicky has really reflected on them, they are bringing into their lives. Absolutely. I mean, those boys are top notch always. Even when they come in, the six of them as guys, you know, no coaches, no parents, they really are a class act. And that's a lot to do with him. And I've seen the way he spoke to them and what he expects out of them. And it's pretty impressive, I think.
All right, now here's a good one.
Yes.
We were still living in Winona, and he called me and said, hey, we're going to be downtown. So I met him, and Pat was still with the team at the time. So I met Nick and Pat Jacobson out, and one of Marie's old coworkers was there. And so I went to introduce her to somebody else, and Nick literally just grabbed me, pulled me to the side. He goes, don't introduce her to him, introduce her to me. Yeah. And now he's married to her.
Yeah, so we are to thank for Nick and Leah, absolutely, who is always a good friend of mine. Yes, you remind them it was us.
That's great.
I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah, I worked. Yeah, I used to work with her.
He followed her like a puppy dog. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
You know, Nick, last question that I have for you, and it's baseball related, and it's always amazed me with the baseball program is we talk about giving back, and you mentioned that you sponsored a locker, and I know that Nick had made the comment that most of the lockers that were purchased were from the younger alums, your age, even closer to to this year, and to me that's always. What is it about the baseball program that people want to give back the way they do? Because like I said, it wasn't cheap. The lockers aren't cheap. And for somebody that's 3-4 years out of college, throwing that kind of money back to the program really says a lot about what the program meant to them.
You know, and it was one of those things where we talked about it, and yeah, it was a lot of money. And we said, you know, we can do it. It's worth it to us. You know, it's worth it for what we got from the school and the university. And then was our first chance to really give back in a way that was in our budget and whatnot. But yeah, we really never even thought about it. It was as long as it worked for us financially, we were going to do it. Yeah. And then it ended up working. And
it was an easy decision for us because I mean, the baseball program obviously brought us together. It's always been, you know, baseball, we both are baseball lovers. It's easy when you see that the program is being ran the way that it is and they are building and, you know, watching it grow. So it was really an easy decision just because it really was always part of our lives. I mean, we try to make games when we can. Weekends are a lot of times hard for us, but we try to go and bring our son so he can appreciate, you know, where we came from as well. So.
Marie, how about any sports for you? Do you ever play any sports or do you guys golf on Mondays since the business isn't open on Mondays?
I did. In high school, I was a tennis player actually. And then I was a tennis player and I was a cheerleader, which, you know.
It's a sport. It's a sport.
It's just as important.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to be rooting everybody on. Nick's more of the big golfer. I golf when I can. And Connor loves golf. He's actually a little sharp little golfer. So yeah, we definitely are keeping busy. And like I said, sports wise, Connor's definitely takes after his father in the love of sports and constantly has a ball in his hand. If it's not a ball, it's a bat, it's a hockey stick, it's whatever he can do to keep busy.
So Nick, early returns, what's the prediction for Connor? What sport do you think he might excel in?
He really loves basketball. I mean, he is out there shoveling the snow. I mean, when it's warm enough, he's out there. He shot, like I said, in the coldest of weather where I say, you're nuts. Put some gloves on, and just go.
He'll just go
and
out
he'll
there
just shovel it. He'll shovel the snow himself. And then we have a big enough basement when he's like, right now we can still play catch in the basement. But losing last year at T-ball kind of took a little interest away from him. But now that we're getting close, we've been to the park for batting practice 6 times. He refuses to hit off the tee. I have to pitch to him. So it's fine. It's fun. It's great, but he really likes basketball. Right now he's at the Y. Mondays and Wednesdays he has camp at the YMCA, which he really likes. Mm-hmm. And then, T-ball will be starting up in a couple weeks here when school gets out.
All right, Donnie, any last questions? Or
he came through. You came through with a good Winnicky story, so I'm good to go.
You're set. All right. Well, Donnie, you and I need to get over there for lunch sometime. We'll make a lunch date this spring or summer here and get over there. So, all right, Nick and Marie Kuhn from North End Pub and Grill in Cochrane. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for your continued involvement with St. Mary's.
Yep. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, that'll do it for Cardinals Nest 2.0. Thanks for watching.